Hello everyone. Today we're going to continue on the Cloud Center of Excellence. In the part 1 video we had covered how exactly you can go about setting up Cloud Center of Excellence, the various structures of Cloud Center of Excellence, the different communication model, how it is, and the different coordination that is required for Center of Excellence. So this is the final and the concluding part wherein I'll go into the artifacts that are usually required for the Cloud Center of Excellence setup. Artifacts, they are obviously required for any architecture as well, be it on-prem or be it in cloud, but I'll just show you the governance model, the setup on the artifacts that you will want to have for CCoE completion. So please like, subscribe, share the channel, and please subscribe to our newsletter as well, where we will be offering you a lot of new tips on cloud and latest trends in technology that you could be having. And our new site, Cloud My Site, is up and running. Please share with any of your people you know who are looking for any websites, and we offer 100% cloud hosting. So without further ado, let's get started. What we have is a few artifacts that I will want to go over, and I've seen that this is very important for a lot of customers that we have consulted with, wherein what we like to say is, okay, you should have a cloud decision framework wherein that you will need to ensure that application has root points mentioned in the cloud decision framework and meets the legal and compliance expectations. In the next slide, I do have a diagram, what we have done for one of our clients, how exactly if an application that is on-prem or if an application team wants to migrate to cloud, what are the decision framework that they need to go through to ensure that their application will be successful on cloud as well. The second one is non-functional requirements, and I have got detailed examples on how exactly we could go with non-functional requirements. But let me take a step back for people who don't know what is a non-functional requirements. And this is where it's like, if people who have been working in the software industry for a long time would probably have run into functional requirements, wherein a business would provide the application team certain business requirements, based on which the application team would consider those as functional requirements and translate those functional requirements to technical requirements. And those technical requirements translate to architecture. Like example is like, okay, I need to have this particular GUI, the design of this GUI should be like this, it should have these data it needs to be searching on, or these data it needs to be filtering on. So that is going to be specifically for the functional requirements. What is a non-functional requirement? Non-functional requirement essentially is like anything if I have to consider it like, is this application scalable for the number of users that will be there? Or in high load, how the application should behave? Or if there's a disaster, what should happen? Or for the backup retention, if there's some data loss that happens, what is the process? So that is where non-functional requirements is very important, and I have a lot of templates to share with you, and you could always go to the Goodwell blog and go and refer the templates apart from this video as well. So I hope it provides a little bit. Once I get to that slide, I'll provide a little more context on non-functional requirements. Architecture diagrams is very important for a Cloud Center of Excellence, because whenever the application team will be coming to Cloud Center of Excellence, they will have to ensure that they create the diagrams irrespective of cloud. They could create an Azure, AWS, Google, Oracle, whatnot. But the architecture diagrams, they should use standardized templates, standardized icons, and standardized diagramming protocol to provide the details such as traffic flow, any ingress, the components used, the different VNets communication, or if it is a hybrid architecture, it should go into that level of detail. And apart from these, the application team should, as part of the artifact, provide key architecture decisions in coming up with this particular solution. And then this is architecture decisions can be as simple as if I have to choose a database. If I'm going with, say, SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server. So why are you choosing Microsoft SQL Server compared to cloud-friendly databases such as MySQL or PostgreSQL? So that is where the decision point needs to be there. It could be that the application, the way it is designed, is more compatible with Microsoft SQL Server, or the licensing is much more favorable. It could be a number of reasons, but that is where those decision points should be documented, so that eventually, that if the time comes, we can go back and revisit why such architecture decisions were made. Business case and total cost of ownership. It does, especially when migrating to cloud, or even setting up on cloud for companies that already have an on-prem presence, they should really have a 5-year horizon on how to go about setting up a business case in cloud. And they should work closely working with the finance team and coming up with a calculation. we at Arina Technologies have done a number of calculations, projections for a lot of organizations to come up with their on-prem data center cost and project it to cloud as well. And what I'll do as part of this, I'll show you a proprietary template that we have and how we have been using this for our customers as well. And last, CCoE should also be looking into the milestones and timelines, because like as part of the governance, if the application team comes into for CCoE, they would need to also provide a lot of steps for the dependent teams like operation, security. So there should be clear-cut direction, and for the part 2, like after development, when is it going to go to QA or UAT and eventually to production. So that is where clear timelines will ensure that dependent teams are aware, and even CCoE can ensure that the governance is in place. So I'll go next to this diagram that I was mentioning over here for the cloud decision framework, where it mentions that your application should be reviewed. So this is a sample of cloud decision framework that we had set up for one of our customers, wherein trying to look at if you want to go to cloud, and if I can try zooming in here. Yeah, so it shows that if you want to go to cloud, you should take care of the requirements, the compliance requirements. You would want to ensure that the customer is okay to have the data on cloud, because sometimes customers may not want the data to be on cloud. They may have certain security or some reasons. That is where you should check it out. You should check out with the legal team as well. That no issues, even if the customer says they're fine, the legal team doesn't have any issues or any of that part. And if once all is done, you should check with the business. Business is good, and they don't have any concerns with cloud. You should create a business case, and this is where I'll show how exactly a template on how you could go about creating a business case, where you should look into the CapEx, OpEx, and how exactly the cloud can help, and you should then finalize the business case. Non-functional requirements, the subsequent slides are talking about non-functional requirements. You could go in on that part and see. You should also check out in non-functional requirements, you should check out these other aspects that are, if you need control of environment, or say you need to have a faster time, these all conditions will help you decide if cloud is the right choice for your application. So this is a sample. You could create your own, but this is just a representation on, or you could go about choosing the decision framework. Now this is where the non-functional requirements is very important. So non-functional requirements, it is important for performance, because this is where it is going to provide the response. You're going to be ensuring that, okay, a business is saying, I need to have a response time. It could be that business usually will, if you ask the response, like what should the response time be? Does come back and tell them with some weird numbers, some milliseconds, or probably in a few seconds for the web traffic. And that is where you may have to set realistic expectations with them, that for a web application, it could very well be that it takes 5 to 10 seconds. And if you do not do that, and the business says, oh, this is behaving pretty slowly, then you will have to accommodate the numbers that they provide as part of your design pattern. So which is where it's important for the response time, throughput, latency. You want to have scalability, wherein the scalability is that if there's a, say, Thanksgiving sale, or there is any other holiday where you would foresee that there's a lot of traffic that could be there, which is where the application should scale to accommodate the workload. And it may not be just the application. It could also be say if there's a DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack. A lot of organizations will most likely absorb the attack. And that is where one way of absorbing the attack is the application should be able to scale. Availability is important. This is important for not only for high availability, but also you would want to ensure that your application is scalable as well. So that is where these SLAs sometimes are communicated if you're building a product, and that is where it is very important. Security is going to be important. Your data residency, data compliance requirements are equally important. Resiliency, and this is where recovery time objective, recovery point objective are important, especially for a DR or disaster recovery scenario, where if we have to consider, like if there's an IT of 2 hours or RP of 4 hours, they count. So if it has an IT of 2 hours and RP 4 hours, that is where it could need to ensure that accordingly the DR could be set up. Observability. Again, you need to have monitoring, logging, alerting set up, and of course compliance. Because anytime if there's an audit that happens, your application should pass the audit and ensure the auditor has the right data to say that your application is compliant. So now, few templates I just wanted to show with regards to infrastructure, how you could calculate. These are going to be the inputs that you should be asking the application team to provide to you. So accordingly, you could really say that this architecture that they have come up with ensures meets the non-functional requirements that the business has signed up on. So this is where a few things you would want to know is, like, say, the environment that is there, because it could be that non-prod environment may be relaxed, or it would very well be that somebody is doing a pen testing or stress testing in a UAT, and you may need to have a right setup over there. So a few things you would want to consider. Not everything needs to be done like a physical box. These are a lot of things that would be used to do with cloud migration from on-prem to cloud. That is where the physical boxes needs to be considered. If we are migrating to a VM where it may be an issue, a data center location, you would want to migrate to closest data center. And this is where CPU memory solid size, because sometimes it could be that the size or the families or the shape is not there in cloud. Something we need to discuss with the business then. Likewise for application, you would want to consider a few things like in authentication, authorization, any integration with any LDAP or any OAuth integration. That is, then you would want to have that as set up. Application type is very important. What kind of application is it a web client, or is it a client-server application with the client sitting on our desktop and having point-to-point connections to the server? Technology stack is also very important. If you are using a legacy technology, probably some language for that matter, which is pretty old, compared to the newer languages like Python or Go, that is where you could be also looking into re-platforming your application to move to a newer language, because you would kind of miss out on a lot of the cloud technologies such as serverless technologies. And this is where equally important that if it is homegrown or COTS, because if it is a COTS product, you would want to check if the vendor supports the application on cloud. And this is where support available is there. And documentation availability, the integrations with the downstream, upstream applications, the database requirements, how many IO you would want to have for a database again, because this all comes down to the performance and infrastructure setup for the application. The CI/CD setup, and this is where the Python is going to be important. Business template is equally important. This is where you would want to have the application team go and get the data from a business. And there's few things that they would want to, the application team should check is the data classification, which is where usually most organizations have these classifications, which is internal, public, confidential, restricted. Internal is only for internal consumption. Public is marketing material, and you could kind of share with anybody. Confidential is something that even if you share with people outside the organization, they would probably most likely have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Restricted, it's the most strictest of confidential data classification, where you cannot provide the data, and most likely even to enroll users, you will not be able to provide the data. Application criticality, this is there in one of our customers, we had seen that they would want to ensure that if the application is critical, you will have to ensure it has the best, it falls into the best category or the best support model that is available in the organization. Like secret rotation, key rotation, what are the policies? And this is where the application needs to take care of the exception handling. Compliance requirement for if you are a healthcare organization, you would probably be dealing with PHI, PII, iTrust. If you are a bank, you will be dealing with PCI. So a lot of compliance and regulations you will have to design for your application, because you may want to do auditing, you may want to do logging, you may want to do reporting. So those things will have to be part of your compliance requirement. Application license portability, that this is all an example. We've been Teradata as an example. Inside application, use Teradata. It may very well be that you may not be compatible with cloud. Right, but it doesn't have to check with the vendor. Now this is where the RPO, RTO is important. What is RPO? It is the time since when the disaster has happened and the time it takes to bring up the data loss that is there. That is what it should be. So if the disaster has happened 1 hour back, so I should only be losing 1 hour probably of data. That is what it is. Likewise, RTO is 8 hours. Within 8 hours, I should bring the setup up. But that is what the RTO means. Availability, 99% and subsequent slide, I do have the availability chart how to go about calculating that, and you could kind of go sign up for a blog and get the data as well. So availability, and the next I'll show you how exactly it will be to check it out. Geopresence, if your application needs to be globally there, or where you take care of the database synchronization, and if it needs to be a global application, something you need to factor into. User growth, if say you're building an e-commerce application and you envision the user growth to be kind of growing rapidly, so that is where you would want to probably go with more of a scalable architecture. It could be rigid to Kubernetes, or it could be another technology that you could look into. Likewise, performance, if like your EPAs, if quickly respond in certain time, your application has to have the right caching, right querying methodologies to ensure you do meet this timeline. Tenancy, likewise utilization, auditing, reporting, data retention policies, acceptable message loss are going to be equally important. So I'll go over the other slides and then I'll come back to the availability one. So likewise, for data template here, like what you see is data itself is very important. A lot of ETL, extract, transform, load pipelines that they will have this set of requirement where you will want to have with your data, your pipeline is batch or real time. Most likely, a lot of organizations that we have consulted, we propose that, okay, what is your use case for making it a batch? Because the way we like to do it is have it real time. It's a lot simpler compared to the batch processing. And this is where those factors come in. What is the amount of data that you're processing, the average and the peak data, for the payload that is there, what is the average and the max payload size, the data retention storage, what is the storage going to be on the disk, or any other for that matter, it could be on a blob as well. There's 100 or 1 terabyte, GB or terabyte, what is the data processing requirement, and like the response time, the query and reporting times, the data processing time is equally important because it could very well be data has to be processed within a certain time frame, and that is where. And if you want the data to be synchronously processed, that again, it's going to be required complexity, ensuring if it is async, you could kind of handle it another way. Or if any retry or exception handling should also be considered. And likewise for operations, well, how exactly will the operations team ensure that your metrics for your application are in place? And this is where they will have to know that, okay, what OS have you deployed your application on? If any legacy database, you could kind of mention, is there a DR or pen testing required? Any ITSM, IT service management, information technology service management, onboarding with tools such as ServiceNow, or any other tool that is there? Any observability monitoring using the tools like Grafana, Alerting, CloudWatch, or Opsgenie for that matter? What is the planned downtime with that? Will be patching, scheduling, what time the backup should be taken? All that is there. So next slide I'll go into is the availability, the maths that we need to calculate for availability setup. Okay, so the last slide that I have, and after this I'll show you the total cost of ownership calculator, or the way we have done for a lot of our customers. But this is the maths that you could use to calculate availability. Say for customer C's, I need 99% availability. What does it really mean? And this is what you could kind of translate that to the hours, minutes, and tell the customer that, okay, what you're saying, 99% availability, we're seeing a downtime of around 4 days per year, and per quarter it is 21.9 days, and likewise. And you could tell them that, okay, if we have to have this availability, this is going to be the architecture that is going to be required, and this is where it could be extra cost as well, because most of you would have experienced, if you talk to a business, tell me your availability requirements. Let's say I want 100% availability. I think that can be the straight answer. But is it pragmatic? Is it feasible? Answer is no. 100% availability is a very complex setup, and you will have to have active architecture. You'll have to take care of data synchronization. There's a whole lot of headaches that you will have to deal with, and that is why you need to tell to a business, guys, that I understand what you're coming from, but that's is the application intended to be like that critical, that we need 100%. So this calculator, you could use it. If not the calculator, this representation you could use to educate your business, educate your customer, technical people, or you could go about calculating the availability. So I hope this was good enough with you, this presentation, quite good information. You could check out these pictures and the information on the blog as well. I'll quickly show you the business cost of ownership. That is a proprietary spreadsheet I cannot share over here, but I'll quickly scan through. You could kind of use that to come up with something similar in your organizations, as well as I'll also show the total cost, like the calculator AWS Azure, and we have already done that as part of our prior videos. The links of those are below, but please go and check those out, but I'll quickly show the spreadsheet as well. Okay, so this is a sample representation. Okay, so this is a sample representation. Okay, so this is a sample workbook that shows the business case, how you could go about calculating for your application. And right, like this is where it could be that, okay, you have like different things you should calculate for business case, the hours, the product management hours, the existing data center cost, that is there you for cloud migration. That is important. The cost if you have, or even if you don't have migrate, what is the cost then is going to be for on-prem compared to on cloud. The cost calculation if you have to do on AWS, and you could go Google to check the AWS cost calculator, you find a lot of information. Similarly, there's Azure, there's Oracle as well, or Google for that matter. And what is the source? Like this is where I was sharing you with a lot of things. And the application information and non-functional requirements will be important as part of the setup. What are the unit prices? And this is where you need to consider all these things in terms of the storage, monitoring, the support. All these will go into this calculator out here. I won't go into each field because it will not be pragmatic for this video. But drop in a comment if you are interested in any of our works for helping your organization. Likewise, for any security incident event monitoring or application monitoring, the things you want to consider. And this is where you would use the financial modeling. As I said, it's a 5-year outlook we should have for your application. And this is where if you, like it says that if you have to migrate to cloud, the things you should consider. Host-take networking. Right, so this is where if you have to look into that new supply cost, which is going to be, what is it going to be? Reserved instances, your on-prem data center, and the savings that will be realized if you move to cloud. So this will be a very good input for your business also to understand, and even for your CIO, why for your organization's leadership, to use this input to say that yes, moving to cloud is definitely something that will be helpful to me, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there, that a lot of marketing material out there that cloud is cheap. Magically, if you move to cloud on day one, you're going to see this much X number of savings. And don't fall into that trap. Use your own judgment, do the math, do the calculation, and you'll see you have better rate of returns, and you make the right decisions. So this is the last sheet that I just wanted to show. And this is the calculator. So I hope I gave you a lot of information. So I hope this was helpful video for you. We learned how to go about considering artifacts for CCoE, the things you need to consider. That is the decision framework, non-functional requirements, diagrams you should create. And you could go to Google and search for the images and we'll see a ton of diagrams. But if you want some samples, drop in a comment and we'll be happy to share a few with you. Our current decisions, it should be just a table. That's more than enough. With the business case, the template I showed, you could create a similar one for your organization. Milestones and timelines. It should be coming from your Jira, where you should be following a sprint or a Kanban-based model to come up with the agile methodology. So that ends this video and the CCoE series as well. So please like, subscribe, again share our channel, and drop in a comment if any questions are. If you have any topic which I'm completing that you want us to do for you. Thank you and have a good day.